Okay. Hello, guys. Hi, guys. How are you? I see Immaculate Madi. Hi, Immaculate. How are you? Shelly B in the house. I see Shelly B there. E-Face, my guy, making moves. How's it going? Katlego Faith. Oh, my number one fan. Thank you, Katlego. Yo, you're always supporting me. Thank you so much. I always see your comments. Nicole Mpofu. Hi, Nicole. Nomonde Rochelle. Zoleka Daweti. Oh, that's another real fan right there. Thank you, Zoleka. Nicola Zuze. That's another one. Yeah. How are you? I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you had a good day and you are ready for us to roll. Let's just wait a little bit for some of the guys to come in. Then we start together. Otherwise, how was English, guys? How did you write your English? I hope it went well. I hope you aced your paper, guys. Wheezy in the house. My guy Wheezy. How's it going? English was good. Okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah, let's get these distinctions, guys. Let's do it this once and for all. The next year, we start on a new page in varsity. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Kashego says, I've been calling my friends, say, telling them that you are live now. Oh, yes. Let's all do that, guys. Let's call our friends. Let's send messages in the groups. Let's let everybody know that we are ready. And then, because these guys are going to come in later and start asking questions that we dealt with already. So I think let's just be patient for them to come through and then we'll start together. Busisiwe says general away. How's it? Okay, guys, Zoleka is asking you how was business paper one, you guys? Oh, Mahucha is on it. He says, say explain paper two, please. And he's already crying. Don't cry. I got you. We are going to cook. Yeah, but I want to know, guys, how was paper one? Okay, Nicola Zuze says amazing. That's good. Nosipo says so easy. Subusi so fantastic. Unamandla says it was good. It was nice for me because of say general. Oh, thank you very much. So glad nearly missed it. I never studied legislations. Paper one was easy. It was fine. It was too good to be true. Definitely cooked. Ah, guys, you're making my day. This is so good. This is so good. Okay, Kekeleto says, can we cook, please say? Okay, we're gonna cook now. We're gonna cook. Let's just wait for a few people to come through. Paper one was fantastic, and it's all because of you. Ah, thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. It was good. Okay, this one, Film Fusion says, I have one question. What's your question? What's your question? Oh, Betty Bunch says, we cooked all thanks to General. Thank you, guys. Thank you. This is why I do it, guys. I do it for you guys to pass. Josephina says, I started joining your platform on Saturday because I was looking for a teacher with stamina. Oh my God. And although I'm only writing May, June 2025. Okay, we're going to cook together. We're going to cook together. It means you still have time. So we're going to cook together. You must get your distinctions. Oh, this one says, I got about 100. If I got about 130 out of 150, is it good? It's just a prediction. Oh, that's definitely good. That's a distinction. Oh, I even smiled when I received the paper, General. I told you. I told you. I told you. That's nice. I say it's Bradley. Oh, hey, Bradley, how's it? Okay, Wendy says they'll catch up. Let's start. Katlego says, you say, where do you stay? Which is your favorite drink? Okay, I don't drink, but we can talk about that outside of this. How Helen Missy secured in paper one. For me, it was okay, but legislation ate me up because I didn't study it. Okay, okay. We can definitely make up with paper two now. We can cook properly and make it happen. It was amazing. Thanks to General. Thank you. Tewo will say time is money. Okay, 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 okay. No, I'm just waiting for a few minutes because last time we started rather too early, and then when the other guys came in, they took us back. So let's just be patient. I think we can start at 10 past, and then from there we're good to go. So just be a little bit patient. I see they're coming in now. We have 126 people. So we are there. Okay, say we have to study also. Let's continue. I have a problem with Issei, sir. Can you please share some originality for CSR and CSI? Okay. Shakira says hi. Say hi, Shakira. How are you? I hope you're good. Okay, guys, we are about to start. About to start. When I opened the paper one, I was like, "Yo, say General didn't lie. It's true. Our Issei is literally HR." Yeah, I told you guys. I told you. Sbonga Konke says paper one was fantastic because of you. Say thank you, Sbonga Konke, my guy. I say we need to nail paper two as well. Oh yes, that's why we're here, and we're doing this on the Monday. Remember, I had said we're going to do the live on Tuesday, but some of you requested that we do it earlier. We do it on Monday so that you guys can definitely have more time with the live so you can cook properly um, into the exam. So that's good. Okay, I see some of you are asking for originality. Yeah, we're going to give you which essay may we expect, say, with your prediction. I got a prediction for you. I got a prediction for you. If you've been watching the channel, you already know what the prediction is because that same video that you guys liked so much for paper one, it's 2024 business studies essays exposed. I exposed both paper one and two. So if you've been following, you already know. You already know because I gave everything there. I thought of you on the essay in business operation. Thank you very much, say. But I'm scared of paper two. Don't worry, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Thank you so much, guys. I'm receiving a lot of love from you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again for paper two. We're going to do it for economics. For those who are studying economics, we'll do it for economics as well. And we're also going to do it for accounting. So I'm going to be here, guys. We're going to be doing more lives, and I'm going to be uploading even more videos for the coming exams. All right, so it's 9 minutes past. I think we're good to go. We can start. So first of all, I want to welcome all of you guys to the live. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation, for coming through. I know time is of the essence right now, so I appreciate you guys giving me an hour or so of your time. Like I always say, the live is not for me to teach. It's just for me to help you get over the edge, especially with last minute tips, with predictions. with tips that can guide you in the last minute preparation, the studying, so that at least when you are going to the exam, you have direction in your study, in your preparation, so that you are not just touching everything. So the aim of this life is to reduce that confusion, to give you direction, so that when you are studying, you know exactly, I'm going to touch here, I'm going to touch there. When I'm done, I go there, and then that's going to be beneficial for us. So welcome to everybody, and please continue to call your friends that may not be part of this live right now, so that they can come and join us. But it's 10 past, so we are definitely going to start. So as usual, we're going to start with a prayer. So wherever you are, if you can just kindly bow your head and close your eyes, I'm going to pray for the Lord to lead us as we start. Our Father in heaven, we thank you this evening. We thank you for this live. We thank you for Paper One. We thank you for all the good feedback from Paper One, that all these learners did well. Thank you, Lord, for your insight, for your wisdom that you keep sharing with us, that is enabling this to happen. And we pray even for this live, Lord, that as we are going to look at Paper Two, Father, guide our minds, give us the wisdom, give us the insight, so that we can definitely focus on what is coming in the exam, and everybody should benefit from that. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So we have prayed, guys. We are ready to start. So the point of this live, like I said, is for us to give each other direction. So I'm just going to give you an overview of what we are going to be doing. So I already spoke about the previous live. I'm very happy that you guys benefited. I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, even on YouTube. Thank you so much from all of you. Thank you so much. TikTok is buzzing, YouTube is buzzing. You guys are showering me with comments. Thank you so much for that. I am happy that I was of help to you, and I believe we're going to do that again today. So today we're going to focus on the low-hanging fruit, the quick wins. Why am I always talking about low-hanging fruit? Is because when you're going to an exam, guys, in one of my videos, I spoke about, I think it's the video of 5 mistakes to avoid. I spoke about last minute shenanigans. So when you're going to an exam, there is something, man. There is something that comes and it disrupts, and people become uneasy, uncomfortable, and they start doing strange things. So I want us to focus on low hanging fruit, so that when you are studying, you start with the low hanging fruit. What do I mean by low hanging fruit? These are the areas of the exam where you can easily get marks. You can easily put in effort and get marks immediately. So you start with what you actually know. You start by consolidating what you know. Then once you have that, you start adding on to it. So I'm going to start with that, with the low hanging fruit. Then the next thing we're going to talk about is the strategy. I always talk about strategy, guys. Studying and learning is one thing, and we've done that the whole year. You have been learning the whole year. So you have the information. But some of us, we have the information, we have learned, we have studied, but we don't have the skill of going to an exam. An exam is a different case altogether. So when you approach an exam, there is a skill that you need, there is a strategy that you need. So that's where I'm coming in, because I know the papers, I've studied the structure of the papers, and I'm going to be sharing with you insights of what is it exactly that you can do with your exam to make sure it works in your favor, to apply yourself. So we're going to be talking about strategy, and then towards the end, I'm also going to give time to Q&A. I'm going to give you time for questions. So if you've got a question, I would suggest you hold on to it for now, because I'm not going to be paying attention to the comments for now. I'm going to focus on the presentation, a short presentation that I'm going to give you. Then I also noticed from the live that we did previously on Tuesday that you guys had a lot of questions, and that question and answer segment was beneficial. So I think what we are going to do is we will let the questions to come at the end. So if you have a question, just keep the question until the end. When I indicate that it's time for questions, then I'll start paying attention to the screen for the question. So if you put in your question now, it might be lost because I will not be able to pay attention to it. So if you have a question, just write it down just in case you might forget it. All right. So let me start with my presentation. So the first thing we are going to talk about, guys, is the structure of the exam. We're going to look at the structure of the exam. And when I talk about the structure of the exam, you may be wondering, why do we always start there? Because, guys, when you're building a house, you start with the foundation. You don't start with the roof. Some of you, the things that you want are the roof, but do you have the foundation? The first thing is for us to pay attention to the structure of the exam. Because if you pay attention to it, the structure of the exam already works in your favor. Let me tell you a secret. Since I started teaching, all my learners always pass. And I'll tell you why. It is not because I'm a genius or what. Okay, I am a genius, but it's not because of that. It's because the structure of the exam works for them. I have shown them where they can benefit. So in every exam, there is 30% marks, which are almost free marks. Then there is 50% marks, which are middle order. And then there's 20% marks, which are higher order. So, for example, if you want to get a distinction, you might not be, the top learner. But if you start at the bottom and you make sure that the 30% marks, which are for free, the low hanging fruit, you collect all of them. And then you go to your middle order questions, which are not very hectic. You go and collect as many as possible from there. By the time you get to the higher order questions, you are just picking here and there and you are done. You've got your distinction there. So if we are talking here, we talk about distinctions. We don't talk about passing, because passing, guys, is 30%. And I expect that everybody should be able to get over the line. And it's thanks to the structure of the paper. When you pay attention to the structure, so we've got section A. What should we do with section A? So I've got a video where I spoke about um, I think it's the first video that I posted on this channel. It's how to guarantee a distinction. I actually did a practical of how to answer multiple choice, how to answer choose the correct word, and how to answer matching columns. That is the basis there in section A. So in section A, you are not even required to think. You are simply required to find the answer from the given answers. So the answer is actually there. It's somewhere there. You are required to find it. You are required to apply a skill to find it. So what I'm saying is you actually have to just know, what do you do? So when you're in multiple choice question, I'll repeat it again for the benefit of those who may not know it. When you're in multiple choice, out of the four questions, out of the four answers that are given, the four options, two of those options are not real options. They are distractors. How will you know that they are distractors? You will know because they have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the question. So you take them out. That means you are left with two options. But from those two options, it's not also up to you to decide. The question will decide. So you go and find out from the question. There will be a word or a phrase in the question which will disqualify the one answer and leave you with the one answer. So multiple choice, we must cruise. When we go to choosing the correct word, in the box, we've got 10 words and we've got 5 questions underneath. We have to first allocate which two words belong to which question. Once we do that, we have already eliminated chances of getting the answer wrong. Why? Because we have removed all the distractors, because these other answers will be distracting you from the two answers of that particular question. So if, for example, in number 1.2.1, if you identify the two answers, those two answers are never going to work anywhere else. If you identify two for 1.2.2, they're never going to work anywhere else. So you do it like that, then you share all the answers. Then you do the same thing we did with multiple choice. You go back and you read, the question, and you find a phrase in the question which is going to show you which of the two are the answers. So I did a practical of that in that video. If you haven't watched it, please, you can go and check it after this live. And by the way, this live is also going to be up. As soon as we are done, I'm going to upload it. So it will be available for you to go over it again and again. Then when we go to 1.1.1.3, which is matching columns. The same thing applies. You've got 5 words or phrases in column A, and you've got 10 answers in column B. So you have to divide them. You have to share. Each question must get 2 answers, and you apply the same method. So that's our section A strategy. Then when we go to section B, in section B, the low-hanging fruit is found in the statements. When they give you a statement and they say identify, when you are asked to identify, that's a low-hanging fruit. You must be able to get the answer because the statement itself will shout the answer for you. So it's going to be very, very important for you to be sober minded in the exam, because if you are sober minded and you apply yourself, you will find that all the low hanging fruit will really be in the bag. So when you get questions that say identify and they give you a statement, that statement there is a low hanging fruit, because it's going to make something to jump out at you, because you guys have been studying, you've been watching the videos, you've got the information. So I know that. So when it comes to the part where you have to answer, you just need to apply yourself. That's what you need to do. So there is identify, then there is also scenarios. Whenever you have a scenario, guys, that's a lower order question. And we have a lot of them. So in section B is cluttered with those scenarios and identify questions. So in a scenario, they are going to ask you to identify something within the scenario, and you must motivate by quoting. Usually that comes for 2 marks plus 1 for motivation. Those are 3 marks. You have to be collecting all those marks. Then when we go to section C, we've got introduction, we've got conclusion. Those are lower order questions. You need to make sure you get those marks. And in my other video of how to write an essay, I did explain how you write an essay. You need 2 statements in the introduction. Those 2 statements must be linked to the 4 subheadings. And the 4 subheadings, you get them from the 4 bullet points that are in the question. Then the 2 statements, as long as you don't repeat them in the body, as long as they are connected, you are fine. Then in conclusion, you need just 1 statement. So you need 1 statement that you are going to use in your conclusion. This can be a statement that you could have used in one of the 4 bullet points, but it's an extra. So you go and throw it in your conclusion. Then the 4 bullet points that are in between, like I said, they come from the 4 headings, they come from the 4 bullet points. So those 4 bullet points are provided. So you simply have to interpret that bullet point into a subheading. If they say discuss blah, 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 then when your role is not to say discuss blah, blah, blah. You're going to start by saying blah, blah, blah. Remove the question part of it. So you got those. So all those, once you do all of that, you are getting lower order marks. You get up to 12 marks in an essay for writing introduction, for writing conclusion, for writing subheadings properly. You get up to 12 marks in your essay before you even start building the essay itself. So that's your low hanging fruit, and it's very important that you go for that. Then in our paper 2, remember we've got business ventures and business roles. So business ventures is found in question 2. So question 1 contains everything. Question 1 has both topics. They share the questions equally. Then when you go to question 2, it's exclusively business environments. Question 3 is exclusively business roles. Then question 4 is a mixture of the two, 2020. And then when you go to question 5, you've got business ventures essay. When you go to question 6, you've got business roles essay. So if you look at this, we can come up with our strategy like I gave you in the last paper. Yes, it's a must for you to write 2 points in the introduction, guys. It is a must. If you write 1 point, you get 1 mark, because the points in the introduction, they don't get 2 marks each. They get 1 mark each. So they have to be 2. In conclusion, you only need 1. So as per the strategy that I gave you last time, I said in your study, You must already choose your questions at the point of studying. You don't choose your questions in the exam. If you are going to choose questions in the exam, it means that it's too late, because it means you were studying everything. You were trying to be a jack of all trades. No, you have to have a strategy. So you can either go with business ventures or you can go with business roles, depending on your strengths as a person. If you feel like you are stronger with business ventures, that means you go with question one, question two, which is business ventures, question four, which has business ventures 20 marks, and question five, which is an essay on business ventures. So that way, we have 10 topics here. So what you do is you now focus on the 5 topics of business ventures more, because it's difficult to focus on 10 topics. It's better if you go for 5. You now go and fix those 5. Once you have those 5, you know them very well. You know, when I go into the question, I'm going to answer what I know, what I studied. So you go with question 1, question 2, question 4, and question 5. It means business roles, you are only going to meet it in question 4 for 20 marks and in question 1 for about 14 marks. So you already know business roles from learning. So you don't necessarily need to study it now if you are a business ventures person. If you're a business ventures person, go to business ventures and spend most of your time there. If you are a business roles person, likewise, you are going to go to question 1, question 3, question 4, and question 6, because that is where business roles is, and it will give you a lot of marks. It means you're only going to meet business ventures in question 1 and in question 4, which is about 35 marks put together. So imagine worst case scenario. Let's say you didn't know anything about business ventures. You only know business roles, but your business roles, you know it well. It means you are writing out of 135, because the business ventures will only lose you 35 marks, 20 marks in question 4, as well as 15 marks, or about 14 marks actually, in question 1. So you are losing only 35 marks from not paying attention to business ventures. So if you apply yourself in the 135 marks that you know, you are definitely going to be able to get 120. Likewise, if you are a question 2 person, business ventures, if you focus on business ventures, you are only losing 35 marks technically from business roles, which means that if you apply yourself in that business ventures, it means you have 135 marks to answer. And if you are very good, you have done your homework, you should get 120 out of that. At the end of the day, no one is going to care how you got your distinction. No one is going to care where the marks came from. But it's going to matter to you how you get it, because it's difficult to master 10 topics. It's easier to master 5 topics. I hope that is clear for us. So that's our strategy. Just in case, just in case there's someone who maybe is hearing this for the first time, and you didn't know that you should study like this, and you're wondering where you should start, you probably want to ask me, which one should I go with? I would just say, from my experience with learners, most learners find business roles easier. So I would say, if you don't know what to do, go with question 1, question 3, question 4, and question 6, which is your business roles. However, if you have been doing business ventures from January, you did it in June, you did it in September, I would not advise you to now change and go to do something new, because it's only 48 hours before the exam. So don't change. Don't change. But if you don't know what to do altogether, you are broke, you don't know, then I would say go for 1, 3, 4, 6, which is your business roles. I've already mentioned the section A, and I told you about the video where I did that, which is how to guarantee a business, how to guarantee a distinction in business studies. You can go and check that for section A. For section C, we are going to look at possible essays. So I'm going to be giving you the possible essays on either side. So remember, I said you are not going for 10 topics. You choose a side. So each one of you will be going for 5 topics, either the 5 topics of business ventures or the 5 topics of business roles. Now, let's talk about those essays now. Now, in my video on 2024 business studies essays exposed, the one where you guys said that you were happy to see HR and so forth. Mind you, if you've watched that video, I didn't just predict, I didn't throw things in the air and say, my mother told me to choose this one. No, I studied, guys. I went, I did a trend analysis from 2020. Why 2020? 2020 is when the business studies paper was split into two for the first time, into paper one and paper two. So we can tell from there how they have been structuring it. So I in that video, I have a trend analysis which shows all the question 5 essays from 2020 in November and June, November and June. In question 6, I did the same. It shows us all the question 6 essays that came in November and June up until June 2024. And let me also reiterate, this June that I'm talking about, guys, is not your mid-year exam. It is June national exam. There is a national exam that is written in June. So there are two exams in a year, national exams, June and November. So I was following those. So I was not looking at your prelims that you wrote, because if you are looking at a prelim, the prelim is written per province. So every province sets its own prelim. So a prelim is nothing to go by. Most of you were saying no for paper one, you were saying no, but we wrote HR in our prelim, so they cannot repeat it. No, it's not the same people. The people that set HR for you in prelim is your province. The people that are setting the final is not your province, it's national. But the good news is most of the provinces, they also do a trend analysis, and then they will test their learners in June and in September based on the trend analysis of what will happen in the final, because they are trying to direct your attention to that final. So I want you to go back to that video and check it very well. Please go and look at the analysis, because I explained how I came up with those two. So just to summarize, from the 5 topics of business ventures, 3 topics since 2020 have been asked twice. What are those topics that have been asked twice? Insurance has appeared twice since 2020. Presentation has appeared twice since 2020. Management and leadership has appeared twice since 2020. So that leaves us with 2 questions that have only been asked once each since 2020. What are those 2? Forms of ownership and securities, investment securities. So if we are looking at business ventures, for the people who are doing question 1, question 2, question 4, and question 5, your essays are forms of ownership or securities, because we know there can only be one question in question 5, one essay in question 5. So I am saying, based on the trend analysis, it can only be these 2, either forms of ownership or securities. So in your preparation, don't go for the one you like. Do both of them. Go through as many past papers as possible. Guys, this thing is easy. Let me tell you what you do. You go and look for past exam papers, which are from 2021 up until now. Or if you are brave, you can even go before that. And what you are looking for is you are looking for memos. So you go to the marking guidelines of the essays. You start studying that as your notes if you are preparing for an essay. You don't just do your notes. Go to the actual question papers, and you find that, for example, let's say in 2022 or say in 2020, there was a question on forms of ownership. You go to that question paper, you find the memo for it, and you start studying that memo. You start studying that memo, because that memo shows you exactly how you should give the points in an essay in a way that will give you the full marks. Because some of you answer very well, you've got the knowledge, but you don't apply yourself enough. So where you're supposed to be getting 2 marks, sometimes you're getting 1 mark because you're giving incomplete statements. So what do you need to do? Familiarize yourself with the memos. Go to the memos, go to see where that essay was asked before, you study that memo. You just need maybe 2 or 3 memos. You don't have to do a lot. Just find those essays and then you do. So let me say, for example, Get 2 essays of forms of ownership and 2 essays of securities, the memos of those essays from past exam papers. You study that, you are done. That's if you are in question 5. I hope that is clear. So just to repeat, I said question 5 will be either forms of ownership or securities. Either forms of ownership or securities. Then let's go to the essay of question 6, business roles, which is what most of you want to answer. In business roles, from that trend analysis, I also noticed there are 3 topics out of the 5 topics of business roles. By the way, what are the 5 topics of business roles? We've got ethics and professionalism, we've got CSI and CSR, we've got human rights, inclusivity, and environmental issues, we've got creative thinking and problem solving, and then we have team performance and conflict management. Sorry. Now, out of those 5 topics, sorry about that. Out of those 5 topics, 3 of them have been tested, have been assessed twice each since 2020. I put everything in that video. So I have even shown you the tactics. I am not hiding anything. I've shown you the tactics, what exactly I did to be able to know what are the essays. So out of those 5, we've got 3 that have been asked before, twice. What are they? Human rights has been asked twice. Creative thinking and problem solving has appeared twice. Team performance and conflict management has appeared twice. So what does that tell you? Because from 2021, where our exam guidelines started, and it's ending at 2024. Well, they've extended it to 2025, but it doesn't matter. Now, it's supposed to end at 2024. What does that mean? It means we cannot close that cycle of the exam guideline without asking the questions equally. So it means the examiner owes us these questions. He must bring them because he has brought 3 questions twice. There are 2 questions that have only appeared once. And what are those questions? Ethics and professionalism and CSI and CSR. So if you are doing business roles, those are your questions. Business roles, those are your essays. Remember, we can only have 1 question in question 6, 1 essay in question 6. So I'm not able to tell you which one it is, but I'll tell you it will be one of these 2. Is ethics and professionalism or CSI and CSR. So like I said, for business ventures as well, it applies here as well. Go and study those essays of ethics and professionalism and CSI and CSR. Don't pick the one that you want. Don't pick the one that you like because you might be disappointed. The examiner will not bring what you like. He will bring what the guideline says he will bring. And this is what the guideline is saying. It's saying ethics and professionalism or CSI and CSR. So you must be balanced in both of those. All right. So those are our essays. Now, if we do the essay, fine, let's say we have got the essay, we are sorted. So it means we have covered section A because I told you how to do your section A. Section A, we must get minimum 24 marks. Minimum 24 marks. The videos I'm talking about, guys, there are only 2 videos I've recommended. The first one is how to guarantee a distinction in business studies. That one actually deals with the whole scope, but it focuses on low-hanging fruit. So it deals with section A, how to guarantee a distinction in business studies. Then the second one is 2024 business studies essays exposed. They are on this channel. 2024 business studies essays exposed. Maybe to help you, I am also going to pin them. So I'm going to put them in a pinned comment. I'm going to put the links when we are done with the live so you can be able to go back there. So we have identified our essays. So in an essay, we are supposed to get minimum 36 out of 40. Minimum 36 out of 40. Okay, someone's saying, what about social responsibility? Social responsibility is together with CSI and CSR. So actually, the topic is called social responsibility, CSI and CSR. I know in your notes that you were given separately. You were given social responsibility as chapter 12 or something, and then CSI and CSR as chapter 13. But they are actually one topic as per exam guideline. So social responsibility, CSI and CSR is one thing. All right. So now that we've identified the essays, I'm expecting you guys to get minimum 36 out of 40. Remember, I already told you there's a 12 marks in section C that you can easily get. You can get that 12 marks simply by following the instructions: introduction, conclusion, the correct subheadings. You're going to get your lasso marks there, which will give you 12 marks. And then you build. So when you are building your essay, you build now the 4 bullet points. And like I said in the last live, when you're answering your essay, you must make sure you go in hard. If you've got 6, 7, 8 points, you put all the 8 points there. Put your 8 points there, put everything inside. Because you don't know as a learner, you are not exposed to that information in terms of how many marks are in which bullet point. So give everything. So minimum 36. Then in section A, minimum 34. Minimum 24, sorry, out of 30. So if you take that 24 and that 36, you already have 60 marks from section A and section C. And that's what gives us a distinction, because now you already have 60. That's your foundation. Then you go to section B. In section B now, the two topics that I said are likely to come. So let me say the one that will come as an essay will not feature so much in section B, because they will reserve that space for the other topics. So in as much as we are preparing the topics for the essays, let us not neglect the other topics altogether, because those topics that are not in section C will be in section B. So we need to ensure that balance right there. Then when it comes to, so I've spoken about the revision videos. Then when it comes to originality, I am going to be preparing. I told you already, let me just reiterate it. When you do originality, you research. So you go to Google, you just Google for whichever topic you're doing. If you're doing CSI and CSR, very easy. You can just say CSI or CSR initiatives in South Africa. Then you select the news, because on top it will say all images, news, blah, blah, blah. You select news articles. So you're going to see a CSI initiative that was done by MTN, by Vodacom, by Mr. Price recently. As long as it's not older than 2 years, you take that, you write it down, you note it that, okay, Vodacom did this in this particular month. So you keep that. So you do that for the topics that you are researching, which are the essay topics. So if you're in business ventures, that is your forms of ownership and securities. If you are in business roles, that's your ethics and professionalism, as well as social responsibility, CSI and CSR. So that's that. You research it, but I know that you guys want my examples, so I'm not going to say them here. I've typed them. I'm going to post them in the community tab. Unfortunately, that's the only way for me to get them to you. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, I think you need to do that so you can be able to get, because I'm not sure anyone can access the community tab. I think you can only access it if you are a subscriber. So I'm going to post it there, and then you can use it. But I suggest go and do more research yourself, because we don't know exactly where the question is going to go. All right, so that covers just about it. Then let me talk about business roles quickly. I know most of you, you are going to major in business roles. So let me just touch on some concepts in about 5-10 minutes. Then I will open up for questions. So again, if you've got questions, please ensure you write them down, and then I will be able to take your questions. So let me start with ethics and professionalism. Now, one key thing about ethics and professionalism, the difference between ethics and professionalism is very simple. If you look at the definition of ethics and the definition of professionalism, they are the same. The only difference is the context in which they are happening. So both of them are talking about moral standards. But ethics is moral standards where in society, while professionalism is moral standards where in a business. So professionalism is in the context of a business, then ethics is in the context of a society. Now, who are the main actors in professionalism? In professionalism, the main actors are the employees because they are the ones that function within a business. Businesses or organizations don't function within a business. So we cannot say they are professional. It's only employees who are individuals employed by a particular business who can be professional because they function within a business. That is the realm of professionalism. Then ethics, we are looking at the moral standards within a society. So who is out there in the society? It is the business that function within a society. So it's businesses that are ethical. So when you are given a question, for example, they say, Miriam took the company car to a funeral back home. Is this ethics or is this professionalism? If they say identify, you have to ask yourself, who is the actor here? Who is the character? Is it an employee, an individual, or is it an organization, a business? So we can see it's Miriam. Miriam is an individual and she is employed by a business. So that has to be professionalism. Likewise, if they say Ron Gold Incorporated pays taxes on time, then what does that mean? We have to look at Ron Gold Incorporated. There's no one who's called Ron Gold Incorporated. If it's incorporated, it means it's a business. So if it's a business, then we cannot use the word professional. We use the word ethics. So that is very, very important. Then after we look at that, we also need to know we are focusing on three unethical acts and three unprofessional acts. The three unethical acts are false advertising. That's number one. Number two is tax evasion. False advertising is so I'm not okay. Let me not go into that. Remember, I already told you I've got two revision videos on paper two. I've got a video on business roles and I've got another video on business ventures. So you will go over that so we don't waste time here. I'm just going to give you the three. So it's false advertising, it's tax evasion, as well as so let me just get that. The third one is pricing in rural areas, overcharging prices in rural areas. Those are the three that we're looking at. Then when we're looking at professionalism, we're looking also at three issues there. We're looking at abuse of work time. Then we're also looking at abuse of workplace resources and funds. And then we are looking at sexual harassment. Those are the three unethical practices that we are going to look at. So you will be given a scenario, you must interpret. You must find it will be one of those three. It's either sexual harassment, abuse of work time, abuse of workplace resources and funds. That's on the professional side. On the ethics, you also have three, which is your pricing of goods in rural areas, tax evasion, as well as false advertising. All right. Then also you will be asked in some cases to recommend a solution. So if you have identified sexual harassment, then you will be asked to find a recommendation. So in the video that I did, I gave a link there for a booklet that you can use, a survival kit. All right. Then we move on. We've got the King Code principles under ethics and professionalism. The King Code principles, we are looking only at three. Only three. There is more than three in actual effect, but For grade 12, we look only at 3. So what are those 3? We start with transparency. I'm going to give you keywords. Whenever they're talking about transparency, they're going to use these words. They may say aware, they may say clear, they may say open. So if you see any of those 3 words within a sentence, know that it is transparency they are talking about. They will say clear, they will say open, and they will say aware, which things are all talking about transparency. Transparency is about openness. Then you have to know, you have to remember how it is applied. Then the next one is accountability. Accountability is about responsibility. So it's about the business taking responsibility for its actions. Whatever the business has done, it must be able to take responsibility for it, good or bad. If it's good, they'll be rewarded. If it's bad, then heads must roll. So every action must have someone who is responsible for it. That's what accountability is about. Then when it comes to responsibility, responsibility is not about responsibility, because we said accountability is about responsibility. What then is responsibility about? Responsibility is about the business taking care of 2 things. Remember, we have 3 P's. The 3 P's under social responsibility are people, planet, and profit. So the business is already taking care of profit. So what are the other 2 things? The planet, that is the environment. So if the business is taking care of the environment, taking care of the planet, that is being responsible. If the business is taking care of the other P, which is people, then that is the community, the society, then that business is being responsible. So responsibility is about those 2 things. It's about community, which is the people, and it's also about um, the environment, which is the planet. All right, moving right along. Let me touch on creative thinking and problem solving. In creative thinking and problem solving, very easy. Number 1 is decision making versus problem solving. Let me give you 2 tips. Number 1, decision making is done by one person, usually a member of management. So decision making is done by one person, problem solving is done by a group. Number 2, decision making only considers possible alternatives, possible solutions. So let me start with problem solving. Problem solving is a group of people, usually a group. It can also be done by an individual, but it's usually a group of people. They come together, they generate solutions, they critically evaluate those solutions. What does that mean? They come up with a solution and they find advantages and disadvantages of each solution. After they have done that, they give it to the manager to make the decision. What does the manager do? Does the manager come up with the decision? With the solution? Do they generate the solution? No. Only the group generates the solution. So when is the solution generated? It is generated and critically evaluated during problem solving. At decision making, the manager only considers the available options. They are already there. He doesn't come up with them. They are already there. He considers them and chooses the best one based on the critical evaluation that was done. So he is told these are the advantages and disadvantages of each one. He looks at that, considers it, and picks the best decision. I always give an example of when you go to a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, guys, you are given a menu. That menu already has options. You don't generate them. You don't come up with those options. Somebody, a team somewhere, generated them and they called the meal blah, blah, blah. Then when you look at them, you evaluate the options that are before you and you pick. So remember that problem solving generates and critically evaluates solutions, while problem solving considers and makes a decision. Then from there, we go and look at the problem solving techniques. What are the problem solving techniques? We've got 4, and I'm going to look at them 2 each. Number one, let's look at I was about to say problem solving. Let's look at brainstorming. Brainstorming versus nominal group technique. Now, brainstorming is done in a group, one large group. Nominal group technique is done in many small groups. That's number one. Number two, in brainstorming, the people in the large group, they randomly suggest their solutions without any order. You think of it, you say it. So you are brainstorming and someone is writing down all the ideas. Then in nominal group technique, you don't shout because we are in smaller groups. So within your group, you are given time to silently, that's a key word, silently brainstorm and write down your ideas. Then at the end of that process, everybody will be given a chance to present their idea one at a time. So the two major differences there are brainstorming is one large group, nominal group technique is many smaller groups. Then brainstorming, it's done at random. Then nominal group, they brainstorm silently. These are the keys that you are going to see tomorrow. Then we look at the other two. Delphi technique, the keyword is experts. Delphi technique is applied when there are no previous examples for the business to look at in terms of solving that particular problem. So they need experts to come and give them, their experience and give them advice on what to do, because this is a no-go area. It's uncharted territory. Nobody knows what is happening. So they ask experts. So once you see experts, know it's Delphi technique. Then the other one, and by the way, these experts do not have to be in the same room. So they contact them via the use of questionnaires. They send them questionnaires individually. They reply. They put the replies in a feedback report, send with a second questionnaire, and like that, they repeat the process until they get all the answers they want. Then the other one is force field analysis. Force field analysis is about pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. So the pros are the forces supporting a change. Then the cons are the forces restricting the change. So there's a decision to be made here, and there are advantages and there are disadvantages. So we have to weigh which side is stronger. But how we do it is we list all the advantages one side, list all the disadvantages one side, but we are not simply going to decide on account of how many advantages are there versus how many disadvantages are there. We are going to take the advantages and assign a score to each one on a scale of 1 to 5. Some advantages will score 5, some will score 1. Some disadvantages will score 3, some will score 2. Then what will be important at the end is we are going to add all the scores for the advantages and all the scores for the disadvantages. Then we go with the side which has the highest. All right. So then the other things are easy problem solving steps, benefits of creative thinking in the workplace. Okay, I think I'm going to pass on that. All right, let's go to CSI and CSR with social responsibility, of course. So CSI, guys, okay, let's start with social responsibility. Social responsibility is the responsibility of every citizen, whether it is an individual or a corporate citizen, which is an organization, to take care of the environment where they are functioning. That's why, as an individual, you are responsible for where you come from. That's why you have to pay tax. All right. Then from there, we also look at organizations. Organizations are the ones that are supposed to pay tax because they are also benefiting from that, from the society. So the individuals and the organizations both have a responsibility and obligation to take care of the environment in which they operate. That's what social responsibility is about. And social responsibility can be summed up in 3 P's. What are those 3 P's? I mentioned them. Planet, 1. 2, people, that's your community. So planet is environment, profit is economic, and then people is community or social. So those are the 3 P's. Once we are done with that, we are done with social responsibility. We go to CSI and CSR. What is the relationship between social responsibility and these two? CSI, corporate social investment, and corporate social responsibility are children of social responsibility. They are concepts that are born out of social responsibility. And what is the difference between the two? It's a very minor difference. For the purpose of the exam, I'm going to give you one tip. Social responsibility, just remember, social responsibility is selfish. Then social investment is selfless. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. Social responsibility, number one, focuses on internal processes that are happening inside the business. Corporate social investment focuses on what is happening in the society outside the business. So this one is internal, CSR, CSI is external. That's number one. Number two, CSR leverages on everything they do to make sure that it contributes to their image and profits. So they may be doing something that looks like it's helping somebody, but they only do it in order for them to benefit either in increasing image and profits. So it can even be used as a marketing strategy, as a marketing initiative to benefit the business. Hence, I use the word selfish. Then CSI is external, and it is about focusing on the societal issues, attending to societal issues, and investing in the society without any return on investment. We are not expecting to get anything back. So we are just giving. And these projects that are done in CSI are not linked to the core activities of the business. Let me give an example. If Coca-Cola comes and gives everybody, goes to a children's home and gives everybody Coca-Cola cold drinks, that is CSR because it is linked to what they do. And they are probably going to take a camera and show everybody that come and see what we've done, which is going to improve their image and profits. But if Coca-Cola goes and buys computers, which is not linked to what they do, and goes and gives them to other people, that cannot translate into people buying more cold drinks because it's computers. So it has no link that is direct with the business. So we say that was done without any expectation of return on investment. So expect a table that is asking for differences between CSI and CSR. All right. I hope that was helpful. Then we also we have three issues that we are dealing with under socioeconomic issues. Number one, we've got, so I know in grade 10 and 11, we're dealing with so many issues, but in grade 12, guys, we're dealing with only three issues. And you cannot fail to deal with three issues. Number one is poverty. And we all know what poverty is. This is when people cannot afford the basic human needs that they need. So that's number one. That's poverty, and we have to have strategies to deal with poverty. And all the strategies that have to deal with poverty, guys, they are addressing people's immediate needs. When I say immediate needs, I'm talking about giving people food parcels. The food parcels are not going to help them in the future. They're going to help them immediately with the problem of hunger. They're going to give them blankets, which they are going to use tonight. They're going to give them shelter, which they're going to use now. That's all the strategies. Whatever strategies you are going to choose to use in the exam, they must all fit within this description. They address immediate needs. Then the second problem is unemployment. Now, unemployment does not necessarily give people immediate needs. When we are dealing with unemployment, we are dealing with people's capacity to get a job and work and then get money which will help them in future. So we are looking at improving the literacy levels, because usually people are unemployed because they are unemployable. They don't have the necessary skills. So when we start giving people training, we are giving them bursaries to go to school, we are improving their capacity to be employed, which will eventually result in income which will buy them their needs. So it's not an immediate solution. Then the third one is HIV and AIDS. Now, with HIV and AIDS, there are two groups of people. There is the affected parties and the infected parties. So, an infected person is somebody who has the virus. They have HIV and they are living with it. Then the affected parties are the people around that person. It could be the spouse, the families. They are now affected because they have to help this person with this, that, and the other. Now, how does that affect the business? So the productivity goes down when somebody's immune system has been attacked. So how does the business deal with, what is the strategy for the business to deal with this problem? So we are going to see the use of ARVs. They can support these people by infected people, that is, by giving them ARVs. Number two, they can organize counseling and testing sessions at work to increase awareness about the disease, to deal with stigma, and so on and so on. So I'm not going to go into the individual strategies, but I'm just giving you an idea. Then we have dealt with CSI and CSR. All right, let's go to human rights, inclusivity, and environmental issues. Now, remember, guys, I already said if you have questions, just keep them. I'll give you time at the end where we are going to deal with the questions. But I just want to touch on some burning issues on these topics. So your questions might be answered as I'm dealing with this. But otherwise, if I haven't answered them, you are free to ask at the end. Let's look at human rights, inclusivity, and environmental issues. Here we are looking at number one, human rights. How many human rights do we have? We've got 6 human rights. Number one is the right to privacy. What are we talking about when we're talking about privacy? We are saying people's information must be kept confidential. It must not be released out there. Then the second one is the opposite of privacy, which is the right to information. So first, in privacy, we said employees have the right to privacy, which means their information must be protected by the business. It must be withheld from going out. Then the right to information is the opposite of that, because we are saying the business has no right to keep the information. The people have the right to access all the information that affects them. So the employees have the right to information. The business should not withhold any information from them. Then we go to number 3, which is dignity. This is to say everybody, just on the basis of being human, must be treated with respect. So when they are given tasks, when they are spoken to in the business environment, they mustn't be spoken down to, regardless of what social standing they hold. Everybody must be respected simply on the basis of being human. Then equity, we are talking about everybody being treated the same within the business. Then freedom of speech and expression, we are talking about employees being able to voice out and express themselves, whether in writing, in speech, talking to management, without being victimized for it. So we are saying there must be open channels. Right. Then the last one, we have safety, security, and protection of life. We are saying within the business must do everything to make sure employees are safe, they are not in danger, and their things are secure, as well as protection of life. That should be number one. So they must be given protective clothing, and so on and so forth. Then we now subdivide these rights. We've got economic rights. Now, economic rights, guys, are simply rights that have to do with income. Economic rights have to do with income, someone's ability to work, and whatever happens within the workplace. That's economic rights. So the right to join a trade union, that's about work. The right to be given off time to pay attention to trade union business, and so on. Free from forced labor, fair wages, safe and healthy working conditions. All of these are within the workplace. Those are economic rights. Then we go to cultural rights. Cultural rights are those rights that have to do with someone's background. So they usually have to do with language, with food, and dressing. That's how people express their culture. So the business can, for example, if they're dealing with that issue, allow employees to speak in their own language in their free time. That's language. Provide different types of cultural food in the canteen. That's two. That's food. Then number three, allow employees to dress in their cultural attire during special days. All right. Then we also go to social rights. Social rights, we have four. Number one, we've got clean water. Number one, the employees have the right to clean water, clean, safe drinking water. Number two is education. They have the right to education. Number three is protection. They have the right to be protected, especially economically. So when we pay UIF, when we pay SDL and so forth, we are investing in the protection of these people. Just in case they lose their job, they will be protected financially through UIF. Then H is for healthcare, which is we can have site clinics in the business to ensure that people are taken care of. Then we've got 7 diversity issues. What are the diversity issues, guys? Number one, we've got poverty, which we spoke about. Number two, race. Number three, gender. Number four, language. Number five, age. Number six, culture or religion. Number seven, disability. And throughout all of these, guys, we are saying people must be treated with respect, regardless of how different they are on this spectrum, whether disabled or not, whether Christian or Muslim, whether young or old, whether Zulu speaking or English speaking or African speaking, whether male or female, whether black or white, whether poor or rich, everybody must be treated the same in the workplace. And the business must actually deal with these issues one by one. The important thing there is we are going to be asked to identify these in scenarios in an exam. So in an exam, you will be given a keyword. So they will talk about Bani is this Jude and he's white. Then you know they're talking about race. If they said someone was not promoted because they are female, they're talking about gender and so on and so forth. So remember, there are 7 of them. Then we go to environmental issues. Here we've got 3 major things. We've got the role of employees in the workplace in protecting their own human health. And then we've got occupational and health representatives, their role, and we also have employers. Now, these roles are linked. I'm just going to give you one example throughout. Let's start with the rights of employers. The right of employers is to provide safety clothing. To provide safety clothing. That's why. Then that right, that role is linked to the role of occupational health and safety representatives. What do? They ensure that safety clothing is provided. So employers, their role is to provide. The role of occupational health and safety representative is to ensure that employees provide. Then the role of the employees is to use the prescribed safety equipment. So you can see it's all about safety equipment, but each one has a role to play. It depends on the angle. So all those points that you have there will be related like that. So I'm not going to go through all of them. Like I said, I've got a video on that, business roles revision, and also I have business ventures. You can check it out after this live. All right. Then we move on to team performance assessment and conflict management. Here, the first thing is we've got the criteria for successful team performance. I'm just going to mention them. There's 4. Number 1 is shared values. Number 2, interpersonal attitudes and behavior. Number 3 is communication. Number 4 is cooperation. You will be asked to be able to either identify these in a scenario or to explain them in your own words. And by in your words, I don't mean you must write your own words. These are statements that you get from the notes. And somebody was saying, do we have to write word for word? Yes. Yes. As much as you can, write word for word, because they scrutinize a lot when we are in the marking session. So you have to make sure that you write as accurately as possible. That's why I said you guys should use brochures. So, but now it's a bit too late to talk about brochures. So I would say go to your notes, highlight the points that you want to use, and memorize them as they are. And they don't have to be everything. Just choose the shortest, simplest ones, and then you will be sorted. Then after that, we've got the characteristics of successful teams. Now, characteristics are linked to the criteria. So you will see that when you go through the notes. The next thing is the 5 stages of team development. Number one, we've got the forming stage. Forming stage is meeting stage, guys. Nothing much is happening. People are meeting each other. They don't know about each other that much, and they also don't even know about why they are in a team, what is the project they are working on. They're still gathering information on the project and on each other. Number two is storming. Storming, guys, we know what a storm is. A storm is chaotic. So storming is a period of chaos. It's a period of conflict. They are arguing with each other. They are confronting each other about character traits, about being the leader, about which role who is going to play. The norming is when now they are setting norms, things are becoming normal, and they are solving the conflict, and they are becoming unified in purpose. They now know what they are going to do. They are focused on the task at hand. That is norming. So the conflict has been resolved. That is under norming. So there's consensus. Then performing. This is one stage after norming whereby the team is now in top gear because now they are functioning. There is no more space for squabbles. There is no more space for problems. They are all working together nicely. Everybody knows their role, even without the interference of the leader. Then the last one is the adjourning stage. And to adjourn, guys, is to say goodbye. So adjourning means this is the final stage where the team is finishing up on their project, on their tasks, and after that they're going to have to separate. So it's characterized by two things. One, they are finishing off the tasks, and then number two is also called mourning because they are separating and they are not going to be happy about that because they are now used to each other. Then we talk about the importance of team dynamic theories. Team dynamic theories, we did them in grade 11 about Belbin theorem and so forth. Now, team dynamic theories simply suggest that in any team, you are going to have these type of personalities. You're going to have an organizer, an implementer, a planner, and so forth. So when you have a team and you are using team dynamic theories, you are now able to identify that in my team, so and so is the planner, so and so is the implementer, so and so is the organizer. So how does that help you? You are now able to give the appropriate role to the appropriate person. You are not going to give a responsibility of organizing to someone who's an implementer because they won't be good at it. And the one who is good at organizing will be criticizing that person because they are not doing their job. So if you, as a leader, if the leader understands team dynamic theories, what is the importance? They are going to be able to give the correct task to the correct person. Then we look at the next one, which is conflict resolution. We've got conflict and we've got grievances. What is a grievance, guys? A grievance is when one party, even if, and one party doesn't mean one person. It can be one person or it can be a group of people. However, these people, even if there are many, they are all on one side. So they are not fighting each other. They all have the same concern. So that concern, we call it a grievance. They have a grievance that needs to be addressed. They are unhappy with something. But in conflict, there are two parties that are locking horns, that are at loggerheads with each other. So you've got someone on one side and you've got another person on one side, and there's conflict. So those two are different and they will be dealt with differently. So you've got causes of conflict there. That's very simple. Lack of proper communication, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to touch on that. Let me go to grievance procedure. and then I'll touch on conflict resolution procedure. Remember, grievance is about one person. So what must an aggrieved person do? The aggrieved party, number one, they must report their grievance to their immediate superior verbally by word of mouth. Then, if that problem is not solved within 3 to 5 days, they can now go to the next superior who is above the previous one, and this time they put it in writing. If it's not solved there, they can take it. So they can keep taking it higher and higher and higher until they find a solution. And each manager who has been reported to has the responsibility to call the two parties, to call the aggrieved party, and whoever has aggrieved them and deal with the matter. So it goes in stages. So when you visit your notes, you're going to see there will be a repetition as it goes up. So it goes up manager by manager until it gets to the highest top management. If it's not solved the top management, it even goes out. It goes to CCMA. I hope you guys know your CCMA under Labor Relations Act, which is your what? Commission for Conciliation, Mediation, and Arbitration. So if it's not solved at CCMA, then it can still go to Labor Court. That's your grievance procedure. Then your conflict resolution is different from that because here there are two parties. So the manager must bring the two parties in, must arrange a briefing, allow each party to blow off steam and say their side, and they must not take a side, they must not make the people to be defensive, they must show that they want the solution, lead them towards a solution. So all these will be given in steps within your notes. And then from there, they will monitor to see if the solution is going well. All right. Okay. All right. I thought maybe there was a problem with network. All right. Fine. Then from there, we have dealt with this. Then the last part of this topic will be the types of difficult personalities. So we've got a complainer. We know what a complainer is, someone who complains a lot. And how to deal with them? You listen to the complaint, but do not validate them. Don't acknowledge them because usually it's nonsense. The second one is indecisive. What is an indecisive person? Someone who just cannot make a decision. They want A, but they also want B. How do you deal with them? Guide them through the alternatives and let them know that they're going to have to make a decision. So you take them through A, take them through B, and say, it's your turn now. Which one are you going with? Then we have an over-agreeer. An over-agreeer is somebody who agrees to everything. Before you finish saying your statement, they're saying yes, 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 yes. So how do you deal with that person? Be firm and do not let them make promises they can't keep. Don't let them say yes to something that they cannot do. Tell them, no, you cannot do this. Are you sure? Don't let them make promises they can't keep. Then we've got a negative person who is always pessimistic, seeing the bad side of things. Be firm with them and don't let them draw the superior into their negativity. What about an expert? An expert is a know-it-all, somebody who thinks they have all the knowledge, they have all the answers, and they don't acknowledge other people's knowledge or expertise. What do you do with that person? Be firm and assertive. Know your facts before you talk to them, and do not accuse them of being incorrect because that will trigger them into trying to show you that they know. Then a quiet person, this is somebody who never gives what they are thinking. So what do you do with that person? Do not fill their silence with words. Don't speak on their behalf. Don't hold both sides of the conversation. Prompt them to speak whenever is their turn. The last one is aggressive. This is someone who is aggressive either verbally or physically. So this person, allow them to speak so they can blow off steam, but without letting them hurt anybody. And then do not be aggressive with them for obvious reasons. If you attack them, you will get attacked. All right. So that takes us to the end of our business roles. So I'm just going to touch quickly on business ventures. Then I will give you time to ask me some questions. Okay, so quickly, I know most of you are not going to be answering this, so I'm not going to take time. This will just help us in the question 1 and question 4, where we are likely to meet this. So when it comes to forms of ownership, guys, we know we have different forms of ownership. We've got a sole trader, we've got a partnership, and these two, the common thing about them is they are not registered. And since they are not registered, it means they do not have legal personality. Since they do not have legal personality, they do not have continuity. And since they don't have continuity, the owners also have unlimited liability. The owners are not protected because the deaths of the business automatically are the deaths of the owner. Because remember, the business is not registered, so everything of the business is under the owner's name. But when we go to companies, all of them, they are registered, which means they are own persons. They are legal persons. They have legal personality, which means if a company is registered, for example, MTN is a person. The shareholders of MTN are people, human beings, with their own finances, separate from a person called MTN who has their own finances. They can enter into their own contracts, they can be in debt, and so on and so forth. That's why MTN or any other company can be sued. It's not a human person that is being sued, it's a company, because once it's registered, it has its own legal personality. That means it can handle its own debts. That means it can continue whether or not there's a change in the ownership, it will continue to run as normal. Then the owners of a company, any company, have limited liability. What does limited liability mean? It means there is a limit to how much of the debts they can pay. They can only lose the money they've already invested in the business. So if the debts of the business are to be paid, they will only be paid using the money they put in the business. Their personal assets and personal possessions cannot be used to pay for the debts of the business. All right. Then, so those are the main things. Then when it comes to characteristics, I'm just going to go through each one of them. Sole trader partnership, there are no requirements regarding the name. They can have anything in their name. Public company has to end with LTD, limited. Private company has to end with PTY Ltd, proprietary limited. Personal liability company has to end with INC in its name. This is by law. So once you see those letters in there, you know what time is this. You know what type of form of ownership is this. A cooperative will have COOP, C-O-O-P, inside its name. A state-owned company will have SOC, state-owned company, in its name, and so on and so forth. So then the other characteristics, I'm sure you will be able to figure them out. But key among that is that there will be a difference between private and public. The main difference there being that private companies do not sell their shares on the JSE, so they are not required to audit their statements, and they cannot trade shares there, so they trade them privately. Public companies, they trade their shares on the JSE, and they are forced to audit and publish their financial statements. There is a minimum of 3 directors for a public company, minimum of 1 director for a private company. Then we also go to difference between private company and personal liability company. Guys, let me put it like this. Personal liability company is actually a private company with only 2 things that differ from all the other private companies. So all the characteristics of a private company apply to a personal liability company, except number 1, the name. The name of a private company ends with PTY Ltd. The name of a personal liability company ends with INC, short for incorporated. The second one is the directors in a private company are simply that. They are directors, which means they are managers. If things go right or wrong, their money is not affected. It affects the shareholders. But remember, the shareholders themselves are protected through limited liability. So we don't talk of unlimited liability anyway when it comes to private company. But in a personal liability company, the shareholders are protected by limited liability, but the directors are jointly and severally liable for the debts of the business. Meaning that whatever goes wrong in the business, the directors, not the shareholders have limited liability. The directors are held liable for the performance and the losses of the business. Personally liable. That's the only thing that makes it different. So it's that the personal liability of directors, one, two, the name incorporated. That's what makes it different from a private company. Then a state-owned company is a company that is owned by the state. So again, remember in economics, a state-owned company can be called a public company, but not in business studies. Public company refers to JSE listed. Then um, state-owned, we call it state-owned. So what we call a parastatal in economics is a state-owned company here in business studies. All right. Then after you are done with that, the next thing will be the criteria. Guys, go and zoom in on this. This is the most assessed aspect of forms of ownership. The criteria um, for success or failure of each form of ownership. There is a table there in your notes. Go and zoom in on that table. They can ask you anything on that. Then and another one there is securities. Let me quickly touch on securities because it's also a possible essay question. The first one will be forms of JSE. I will say go and take the shortest answers there. You have about 13, 14 answers there. You don't need all of them. Go and take 3 or 4, the shortest ones that you can remember and answer them in full. Then after that, you've got factors to be considered before making an investment decision. We have 6 of them. You have to know all of them. You have risk, you have taxation, you have liquidity, you have investment period, and so on. So you have to know each one, and you are going to know at least 1 point on each one that you are going to give. There's also return on investment there and inflation rate. Okay, so those are the 6 factors to be considered. Then after that, you've got investment opportunities. Now, investment opportunities are different from forms of investment. We only have 4 forms of investment, guys. What are the 4 forms of investment that we have? Number 1, we've got shares. Number 2, we've got unit trusts. Number 3, we've got RSA retail savings bonds. Then I'll give you the 4th one as well. Then the rest, which I've not mentioned, they are going to fall under what? Investment opportunities. That's where you have mutual funds. That's where you have managed portfolio and so on, about 30-day notice period. So I know you have that in the notes. I just want you to be able to separate those. When we go to shares, guys, we have 4 types of shares. We have founders shares, which are given to the incorporators or the people that started the business. These shares will only be paid last after everybody has been paid. Number 2, we have ordinary shares. These are the primary owners of the company. These people are not guaranteed of any profit. They can only be given a profit if and when a business has made profit and if the directors have declared a dividend. Then we've got the next one is your preference shares. Preference shares are those shareholders who don't want the uncertainty that comes with ordinary shares. So what they do is they have a fixed rate of dividends. It's either they're getting, if it's 10%, they get their 10% no matter what happens. They get their 10%, whether the business makes a profit or not. However, there are 8 types of um, preference shares. Now, the 4 main types have their antidotes. So let's go through the 4. The first one is cumulative. Cumulative preference shares means that the past dividends, where the company did not have money to pay, they will carry over to the next year. Non-cumulative simply means they don't carry over, which means if you lose that dividend in that particular year, you cannot be paid back again at any other time. Then we've got convertible shares. These are preference shares that can be converted to ordinary shares at a predetermined price at a predetermined date in the future. Non-convertible means they cannot be converted. They will always be um, preference shares. Then we go to participating and non-participating. Participating preference shares are those shares that will always okay, these are shareholders that after receiving their own share of the profit as per their preference dividend, they still want to go on and partake in extra profits because they can see that the company has done extremely well. So even though they've paid me my 10%, there is still more money that is going to be given to shareholders. They also want to participate in that share of profits. Non-participating means if you get your money, leave the room. We are going to share the rest, then you go. That's preference shares. Then the fourth one is redeemable shares. So we have redeemable shares, which means these shares can be bought back by the business at a date in the future. Non-redeemable means they can never be bought back. Then that was the third one. So under preference shares, we have 8 types. So mind you, when the question says types of shares, it's talking about founders shares, ordinary shares, preference shares, and bonus shares. What are bonus shares? Bonus shares are shares that are only given to existing shareholders. Nobody can go and buy bonus shares from scratch. You can only get bonus shares if you are already a shareholder because they are paid as compensation for dividends that you would have received, but the company doesn't have the cash flow to pay. So instead of paying you in cash, they now pay you in stocks, in shares. That's bonus shares. So there are 4 types. Then preference shares, if the question says types of preference shares, it means they are talking about redeemable, non-redeemable, convertible, non-convertible, and so forth. All right. Then still under securities, we have the issue of interest, simple and compound interest, which I know is very easy for most of you. In simple interest, the principal doesn't change because the interest is not capitalized. So we keep calculating on the same principle all the time. Then in compound interest, the principal changes every year because the interest gained in year 1 is added to the principal in year 2. So year 2, the principal is higher than the principal of year 1, and so on and so on. And the question will ask you, they give you a scenario, they say so and so is being offered option simple interest by bank A, compound interest by bank B. The answer is always compound interest. It always gives more. Then we go to insurance. Insurance, guys, we've got compulsory insurance, which means it is mandatory, it is by law, and we have 3 such. What are those 3? We've got road accident fund, which pays people that have been injured in road accidents. We have UIF, which pays people that have lost their job. And we also have compensation fund, which is linked to COIDA, which helps people that have been injured at work. And all these are paid indirectly through levies. They are not paid directly. So you don't go and open this type of insurance. It is going on whether you know it or not. So it's done through a levy. Then on the one side, we have non-compulsory insurance. And non-compulsory insurance is the insurance that you go and ask for yourself. You go and ask and say, can I have a contract my way, Discovery? I would like you to cover me for this. It's not a must. That's why some people have it, some people don't have it. Compulsory covers everybody. All right. Then after that, there is the issue of a premium and excess. A premium, guys, is what a person, the insured, pays every month to remain covered. Premium, that's premium. Excess is paid once off when a person is claiming. All right. Then we go to insurable and non-insurable risks. What are insurable risks? Insurable risks are those risks that you have seen on TV before. Any insurance you saw on TV is covering an insurable risk. Why? Because they are actually able to cover it. Insurable risks, you have never seen them on any advert. Why? Because no insurance company is willing to cover that. They cannot calculate the extent of the loss, so they can't give you a premium for that. That's so you need to also know examples of um, insurable and non-insurable. Then we've got short-term and long-term. Short-term, guys, is not necessarily about the time. It's about the nature of the risk. Short-term insurance means this is where we apply the principle of indemnity, which means the insurer is able to protect the insured from the potential harm. So let's say the insured is saying, oh, I don't want my car to be stolen. So I'm going to pay you every month such that if my car is stolen, it must be as if my car was never stolen. Which means what? You must buy me a new car. And then I don't have any problem. I don't suffer the loss of having my car stolen, so to speak. So it means the insurer would be able to indemnify and protect the insured from that loss. That is short term. Long term, these are risks for which the insurer cannot protect because these things are certain. They are definitely going to happen. We're talking about death, we're talking about sickness, we're talking about funeral, and so on. So these things, no insurance company can tell you that will prevent you from getting sick or prevent you from dying. So they are not asking to protect you, but they are saying in the event that it happens, when it happens, they will be there to provide security. So that is based on the principle of security. So remember, we have four principles of insurance. We have already dealt with two. The number one is for short-term insurance, that's indemnity or indemnification. Number two is this one of security or certainty. In short-term insurance, we don't know whether that thing will happen. It might happen, it might not happen. But in long-term insurance, that thing is definite to happen. It's definitely going to happen. So it's a matter of when it happens, there will be security from the insurance company. Then let me talk about the other two. By the way, short-term insurance sometimes is called insurance, and then long-term insurance is called assurance. Then let's go over to the other two. I said there are four principles. So one, indemnity; two, security; three, we are now talking about insurable interest. When we say insurable interest, what do we mean? We mean whatever is going to be insured, the value of that thing must be expressible in financial terms. In other words, we cannot insure something for which we don't know how much it is worth, because how then will the premiums be calculated? So whatever we're gonna we insure must be expressible in financial terms. One. Number two, whoever is insuring it must have a legal relationship with that item. In other words, you cannot insure something that is not yours because you will not care enough to take care of it. Which means if you don't suffer any financial loss if that thing is lost because it's not yours anyway. Then we go to the fourth one, which is utmost good faith. Utmost good faith is talking about when you come to an insurance contract, you must come nicely. You must be honest. If you have a heart condition, you must say, I have a heart condition, so that the insurance company will charge you properly as someone who has a heart condition. If you don't say, you don't disclose that you have a heart condition, then you say, I'm in perfect health. Then they charge you lower premiums. If you do die, or something happens to you from that heart condition which you never declared, then they are not going to be able to pay you because you breached the principle of utmost good faith. All right. Then if I've left anything, you'll let me know in the comments. Then management and leadership. The first one is the difference between management and leadership. I'll give you one tip. Management, somebody is appointed to management. They are not born with it. They become a manager because they are appointed. The authority is given to them. But a leader is not necessarily appointed. They have natural charisma, which automatically makes them influential. People listen to them even without a position. Then the rest of the characteristics are linked to what I have given you. Then we look at the different styles of leadership. So, one, we've got um, charismatic. A charismatic leader is somebody who uses his charm, his personality. Okay? So the key word there will be personality. Then we've got somebody who uses rewards and punishment. What do we call that? Transactional leadership style. It's based on a transaction. I give you this, you give me that. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If you do this, I'm going to reward you. So there are incentives. All right. Then we've got autocratic leadership style. Autocratic, this leader does not consult. He does whatever he sees necessary because he sees himself as the person with all the knowledge. Then a democratic leader consults. All right. Then we go over to, okay, I've left one. Please let me know in the comments if I've left. There's one that I've left there. Okay, then we go to the leadership theories. Okay, yes, I've remembered. It's laissez-faire. Laissez-faire, which is free reign. Free reign, the leader delegates all the power to make decisions to the employees or the members because they are very knowledgeable and they probably know more than the leader. All right. Then we've got the leadership theories. So these were leadership styles. Then we go to the leadership theories. The theories are what are the use of the styles. So a theory is a philosophy, is an ideology of how you are going to use the styles. So for example, situational, which is the most commonly asked in exams. In a situational theory, what does the leader do? He uses any of the leadership styles depending on the situation. Hence, it's called situational. Sometimes he becomes transactional when there is need for that. Sometimes he becomes autocratic when there is need for that. Sometimes he becomes democratic and so forth. And by the way, with all the leadership styles, none of them is totally good and none of them is totally bad. They are used according to the situation. So you will check there are also different scenarios where each leadership style must be used. All right. Then we go to presentation. Presentation, we've got under presentation, we've got, sorry, I'm seeing the comments here. Okay, so in presentation, we've got what the presenter must do in preparation before the presentation. Then we have during the presentation. Then we have answering questions at the end of the presentation in a responsible manner without being aggressive. And then we have areas to improve for the next presentation. I'm sure you can see the progression there. There is before. So when we're talking of before, we are talking of securing the venue and so forth. Then if we're talking about during, we're talking about voice projection, being audible, don't hide behind equipment. If we're talking about responding to questions, we are saying don't respond to questions personally. Don't particular person, respond to the whole Okay, guys, sorry, I think my other mic ran out of battery, but I'm sure you can hear me now. Can you confirm if you can hear me? Okay. So sorry about that. My other mic had given way, but I've just connected another one. All right. So I had just finished with presentation, and I said I'm going to give you time to ask me questions that you have for about 10 minutes or so, and then at about 8 o'clock we're going to close the live. All right. So I'm waiting for your questions, and thank you so much for being patient and letting me know about the sound. All right, I'm waiting for your questions now as we speak. Okay, Chantel says, say in business roles, which essay will come out? In business roles, I said it ethics and professionalism, then social responsibility, CSR and CSI. So ethics and professionalism or social responsibility, CSI and CSR. One of the two questions is coming under business roles. Okay. Say in this essay, are we going to get combined topics or one topic? No, it's one topic. They will not ask combined. It will only be one topic. If they go with ethics, it will be ethics throughout. If they go with social responsibility, it will be social responsibility throughout. What are the possible essay questions? I already mentioned question five, forms of ownership or securities, one of the two, and business roles, ethics and professionalism, or social responsibility. Okay, no questions from me. Just want to say thank you and I'm ready. Thank you. Come hello. Wow, you guys are so kind. You guys are so kind, so nice. Hey guys, if you want code 7, how many marks do you need to have for both papers? So if you want level 7, guys, the combined papers, paper 1 and 2 are out of 300. So you need a total of 240. And this 240, you can get it in any format. If it can be 120, 120, 130, 110, as long as it adds up to 240. So say what areas must we focus on in order to grab more marks? I think focus on the essay first. And if you are talking about the questions, I would say go with question 1, 3, 4, and 6. Question 1, 3, 4, and 6, which is business roles. Say would like to ask on the miscellaneous questions, business ventures, like what are the focus areas as a business relocation person? Okay, I think it's the areas that I've spoken about. Um, business ventures, forms of ownership, securities, insurance, presentation, management, and leadership. All right. What about question 3 and 4? Which chapters will come out? So I already said, guys, in question 2, we have business ventures, which is forms of ownership, securities, insurance, presentation, and management and leadership. In question 3, business roles, which is ethics and professionalism, social responsibility, human rights, creative thinking, and team performance. Then question 4 is a mixture of the two. All right, if I mastered business roles and not that the other, will I struggle that much on question 4? No, not really. Like I said, question 4 only has 20 marks of business ventures. So if you cook in your business roles, you are only, if you miss all of the marks, it means you've only missed 20 marks. All right. Say we are writing on Thursday. Any tips? No, we are writing on Wednesday, my guy. We're writing on Wednesday unless you are not in grade 12. Because of you say I'm ready. Thank you so much. Thank you, Siwe. Immaculate, can we start by writing the essay first? Yes, you can, but make sure when you do that, you don't mess up with your time. So you must time yourself. And when you staple your papers, must staple them correctly. Say, what do I have to do to finish writing the whole paper? Okay. Please give your originalities. I didn't hear you in question. Okay, so let me touch on that issue of how to finish the whole paper. Use your reading time properly. Your 10 minutes reading time is your time to choose your questions. And then after you choose your questions, you start attempting section A in your mind. So section A will take you only 5 minutes when they say start writing because you had already started it. Then that will save you a lot of time. Thank you so much, Say. May the Lord bless your beautiful heart. Thank you, Zoleka. Which business ventures questions are likely to come out on question 4? All the ones that will not come out in section C will come out on section B. Would you advise a person, can I use the Coca-Cola, e.g. the use on the essay? Yes. Research your examples. I'm also going to research and I've prepared them actually. I'm going to send them in the community tab. Say, please repeat what will I get on question 2 and 4. Question 2 and 4, which is business ventures, is forms of ownership, securities, insurance, presentation, management, and leadership. How many points must the essay have? You must have a minimum of 4 points per bullet. 4 points per subheading. So basically, we're talking 4 by 4, 16. Minimum 16 plus introduction and conclusion. How many points under the subheadings? Minimum of 4. Minimum. Please give originalities. They will be in the community tab after the live. Remember, I said I'm going to send the live, I'm going to upload it for you, and then I'll also put the originalities in the tab. What about CSI and CSR initiatives? Okay, I did that. I'm ready to ace this paper. Sam Kelly's friend, love. Thank you. When is the next live video? I'm late. Okay, this same live is going to be up, so you're going to see that. Someone says I cannot hear. I think my mic is fine now. Will you also be live tomorrow? No. So this live is going to be up. You can still watch it tomorrow. What type of information do you need to write on the essay for the intro? Any 2 points that are related to the 4 bullet points will work for the intro. I've grown a lot more confidence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Say, when will you be live for economics? Okay, that is next. That's my announcement. Economics live will be Monday, 11 November. Monday, 11 November, I'm going to be live for economics. I guarantee 120 marks on my paper too. Thank you, Busiso. Love to hear it. Say on essay, in conclusion, are we writing our own view or solutions? I'm struggling to understand what I must do. Okay, don't struggle. Take any point that you would have used in your bullet points that you didn't use, just throw it in the conclusion. Konashe Blessed says, say you're doing great. Thank you. Thank you, Blessed. That's my grade 10 learner there. All right. Will you do the same for economics? Yes, economics, I'm live 11 November 2024. So if you are subscribed, you will be notified. I'm going to also send the link. Thanks for the help, Say. We appreciate. Thank you. You don't do accounting. I do accounting. I'm going to be live Tuesday, 12th November for accounting. Say, what you just told us about problem solving is question 3, right? Yes, it's question 3. Yes, so guys, those who are not familiar with the channel, this channel covers business studies, economics, and accounting. So when you visit our channel, you will find videos on those 3 subjects. So right now, I'm working with the timetable. So we're doing business studies now, but after here, the focus will be on economics. So like I said, Monday, 11 November, we are live for economics. Tuesday, 12th November, we are live for accounting. What are the main topics that could be on an essay? Oh, you love your essays, guys. Question 5, forms of ownership or securities. Business roles. Question 6, ethics and professionalism or social responsibility. Say, can you please be live tomorrow? It really helps us a lot. Okay, but if we're live tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the same things that we talked about today. So I'm going to post this so that you can watch it again tomorrow. Say, unfortunately, we can't start with the essay because the answer booklet contains attached pages, if not mistaken. Oh, yes. Yes. Say in the paper, will the impact of the problem solving techniques be asked? Yes. Yes, they will. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you too, Rahadi. Any tips on how to tackle miscellaneous questions, business ventures? I say don't worry too much, Inamandra, about question 4. Focus on your areas. Question 4, you take what you can get. How do you approach question 4 if you only studied one topic? Do you skip the other one only to get the 20 marks? No, you don't skip. You're going to attempt. But what I'm saying is you focus on what you are good at. Then the other part, of course, you know something and you are going to attempt it. So don't leave it blank and say it's not my topic. You are going to answer everything. But in terms of studying, you would have focused on where you get marks the most. Thank you, Say, for your help. You helped a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm struggling to deal with calculations. What calculations are these? Is it simple interest and compound? Remember, I said the interest is not added in simple interest, so it's principal times rate times time every year. Then for compound, after you get the interest, you add it to the principal and start again, principal times rate times time, but with a new principal. Danko say for your help. Thank you, Drumlord. Tandaza Kiva say, what is the best study technique for paper 2? Because it drains me, I prefer paper 1. Pick a side and focus on it. If you pick business roles, go with it. If you pick business ventures, go with it. But don't leave anything out. Which subjects do you do? I do business studies, accounting, and economics. Should you at least try to study the other topic for question 4 but not dwell on it too much? Yes, that's exactly what you should do. You study it with 20% of your time because it's still gonna come. Missy Makeup Girl, that's Thelma. Awesome work, say. That's my sister. Thank you. Lita Homanke, say which YouTube channel you own to help with Meslit? You are a pro. Oh, thank you. But what did you say? Say which YouTube channel you own to help? I don't understand the question. You deserve flowers, sir. Thank you, Elisa. Kitumetsi say I've already skipped 9 questions and I did not finish writing my essay. How can I deal with the situation? Time management, sister. Time management. Start early. When they say reading time, you start answering section A already. Then the rest will solve itself. Say you got yourself a new subscriber. You helped me a lot and made things look easy for me. Thank you, West G. Tando say what topics for question 4 business ventures? Any of the topics can come under business ventures. So the 5 topics of business ventures. YouTube channel that you know for Meslit. Not at the moment, but I'll check and I will let you know. Yeah, so ask me in any of the videos so that I can respond to your comment. Say what is the maximum number of examples we should add for originality? Okay, 2. You need 2 examples in your essay, only 2. You don't have to put more than that. But if you do have, you can add more. All right, I think that's about it. I don't know if there are still any other questions. Maybe they will still come up. Which essay will be assessed on question 6? Question 6 will be either ethics and professionalism or social responsibility, CSI and CSR. I subscribed because no, man, you're good at what you do, say. Thank you very much. Thank you. Flowers for you, say. Thank you. Best business studies teacher, you deserve an award. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I think you're done with questions. These are now compliments, yeah? I think we are done with questions. So let me just give a few announcements. Like I said, we cover 3 topics on this channel. So this was business studies. We also cover economics and accounting. So you guys will be writing in that week of the 11th. So on Monday, I'm going to be live for economics. And on Tuesday, which is the following day, Tuesday 12 November, I will be live for accounting. And then in other news, this coming Wednesday, just after your exam at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be live on Love World Sat Television. I will post the link if you want to watch. I'm going to be discussing issues on pressures of exams, anxiety, mental health, and so on. So I've been invited to that channel. So it's a television program called Student Life. So I will be there. I will be on that particular show Wednesday at 5 o'clock, this coming Wednesday. I'll send the link, and if you are available, if you are free, please do join us and give me a shout out there. Okay, Originality. Okay, someone says, wow, congrats, definitely going to watch. Okay, yeah, so when I'm done with the live, I'm going to post the link to that show, to the channel, because you watch it online. Then yeah, you can watch and join us 5 o'clock on Wednesday. What time are the lives? All the lives are at 6 o'clock. All the lives are at 6 o'clock. So each time we do live is gonna be at 6 o'clock. Have a great day. Say you won't regret it. All right. So I think we are done, guys. Thank you so much for joining the live. I wish you the best for Wednesday. Um, yeah, God is going to help you to remember everything we've discussed, everything we've studied. You still have time. So just in case you are not sure about certain things, don't worry. You still have about 48 hours. So you can make use of that. You can visit the channel. I've recommended videos. I have a lot of videos on most of the things that you are asking. So just visit the channel and have a look. I'm sure you will enjoy yourself. All right, that is that, guys. Someone says my questions haven't been answered. Okay, Tandaza, you said your questions haven't been answered. Okay, can you ask it again? Maybe I missed it. Then we close. Say, do you have to write introduction, body, and conclusion in the essay? You have to write the word introduction, you have to write the word conclusion, but you don't have to write the word body. Huh? Why are you wearing a woman's shirt? Jeez. Okay. It's not a woman's shirt. Thank you. Wow, you guys. It's not a woman's shirt, it's a man's shirt. Maybe you just don't understand the shirt, but it's okay. Say, can you please post the originality like you did for paper one? Yes, I'm going to do that. Is this live gonna be saved? Yes, it's gonna be up a few minutes after we drop the call. Naledi says, God bless you. God bless you too, Naledi. I'm waiting for Tandaza. You said your questions have not been asked. So I'm waiting for your questions so that I can go. Definitely will join the live. Thank you, Siwe. Naledi Lamini, the first point on the intro can be a definition, right? Correct. What can the second point be? Anything that you will not repeat. As long as it's linked to the bullet point, as long as you're not going to repeat it in the subheading, it's welcome. Say if one gets 100 for both papers, is there possibility for a distinction? No, because that will be 200 and you need 240. Tandaza, you are still saying my questions haven't been answered. Ask the questions. Say what I write, the positive and negative. Do I have to state on the essay that is negative? No. You don't have to state negative, positive. You just go. The examiner will figure it out. Say, besides this live, where can we find your videos of you explaining paper 2? On this channel, Masterclass with the General. So just click on the icon, Masterclass with the General, and then it will take you to my channel and you will see everything there. Zipo says, God bless you, Bafo. Thank you. Okay, there is the question for Tandaza. She says, what is the best study technique for paper 2? The best study technique, Tandaza, is pick either business roles or business ventures and focus on one. Can you tabulate on the essay? Not unless it's a difference. If they ask you about a difference, that's only when you can tabulate. Otherwise, everything else don't tabulate. Okay, thank you, say. Paper 2 drains me and I usually do well in business. This one will not drain you. Watch the videos, you're gonna be fine. Say, is it necessary to add examples on the essay? Yes, 2 examples. Topic for question 5, forms of ownership and securities. There is a possibility for you to get distinction if your 25% is high. Okay, yes, if you already have 20 out of your 25%, then you can afford to miss the 120, but 115 will get it for you. All right, guys, I think that's it for today. God bless you. Remember the announcements: Economics Live, Monday, 11 November 2024. Accounting Live, Tuesday, 12 November 2024. Then I'm going to have an interview on TV on Love Set this Wednesday. If you are free, you can watch. I'm going to post the link in the description box. I will also post the originality in the community tab, and I'll also post the links to the videos that are talking about what we are doing. God bless you. See you, and let's get those distinctions. Bye.